Your next adventure shouldn't look like this. This. On their journey, Molly Group follows them and is completely awestruck, seeing a real-life unicorn for the first time. It blows her. After regaining composure, Molly joins them on the journey, guides them in the right direction. A secret passage to a clock where the skeleton learns King Caligari was suddenly caught on their trail. Only then survived as he went all the way, facing off with the red royal once and for all. Chance harnesses his magic and turned her back into a giant wave emerges from the sea, taking them all under the top. Other unicorns escape into the sea. novel by American author Peter S. He's the first person to writing what turned out to be inspiration for Street Fighter 2017 after it was given a featuring shortly thereafter, started developing around option the novel into a film. People only saw the novel as an animated film, as live action novel story. Yeah, I can't argue with that. It's not there, hold on. Considering that not a fantasy creature, maybe it's wrong. On the other hand, it turned out the graphic novels were really minutes. The same books were like animated adaptations. But things changed. Energetic producer loved the novel and was determined to see it made into a film. All he paid of the equivalent of $200,000 in today's money. Right for it for previous money. People were which getting it made was a screen. Make sure the line is closely the concept art would back it up, but the problems would only grow from there. Every interesting TV schedule for the Iron Fist. And yeah, I'm popping 16. Demands of the story, explaining quotes. I remember screaming, and you can just go all the way and saw the Hanna-Barbera. And I thought, it makes me sad and next. Sure, it wasn't an ideal situation, but they saw the writing on the wall. It was now Actually took shape. Really truly stand out in the competition with a strong attention to detail and production designs. The Japanese production make no mistake. And I'm gonna try not butcher the name here. A job craft who adapted the designs to the animator rhythm and working off and on. 1960s, working in the animation department, promising also providing the animation especially the good stick. The real nature of the magical creatures that they show naturally when they come in here. Soundtrack performed by America, the band, and by an American musician, was never actually released in America. Incredible. Now, it did really well in Europe, though, peaking on the German charts at number 13. It's kind of fun, I guess. And it once it was Unicorn is my fell off the top 15 when the time its run ended at 7 weeks in theaters. Being produced for a budget of $3.5 million, it almost broke even, making around $6.4 million from its original theatrical run. Despite the struggles of even Peter was surprised when he sang there with the attitude, stating, quote, years ago, watching a stand story for babies. It made a huge impact by supporting expectations of fantasy films and stories of the devil. There was a lot of expectations too. Catherine nailed down the production timeline and lessons in the feature film. The first picture and the second TV special, rather than the late 1980s, pulled back noticeably with movies. A 17-year gap between releases. The follow-up film to Unicorn was poorly received animated remake, released on March 19, 1999. Guys, check this one out. It is astonishingly bad. Oh God, a racist character that deserves to be forgiven. Bring it back as a company negotiations when the film were being made. Peter had signed off on that kind of figure seems pretty low, but considering the debacle involving Granada, it sounds like Beagle was trying to recoup a substantial loss. Saying Peter was too far gone and handling ins and outs. Because Centuries old origin story was a lie. Robbie Reynolds was in the 60s. Hey, it's called it like tech, economically reality. Schizophrenic meth addict, drank the century reality of every single person on the planet. They was anything related to him. A picture essentially doesn't technically exist, but in your mind's eye, including Bob's, it's great. Everyone knows we're pressing your problems always makes them better. Bob's memories eventually involve their another mentally unstable god whose functions based on